It's already late. Where's Arjun?
He's looking for universities, right? Maybe he's held up there.
You look so tense. By the way, did you get to choose the university?
No, I'm unable to find a university that meets my requirements.
Whoa. Meet your requirements? What exactly are you looking for?
I'm looking for a place that gives me an opportunity to grow, to excel, to invent, and to innovate. I want to be a part of an institution that paves my way to discover myself and to witness the world moving forward in technology. I want to go to a place that sets a futuristic pattern of education filled with ideas and radical performances. Basically, I want to live my dream.
Dayanand Sagar University. Live the dream.
Shindeji,
Haji,
I have few inputs about the video. We'll talk about it offline.
sure.
Okay.
So, good morning to all the teachers, all the principals, as well as the speakers. Dayanand Sagar University, Bangalore takes the opportunity of welcoming one and all for this special morning session, a virtual webinar on the topic mental health and well-being in present times. This is a program exclusively meant for the school principals as well as teachers. We understand the tough times that is being happening, that has been going through with all the principals and teachers. And this is an attempt to bring some of the expert guidance to all the teachers, to all the principals, which will help them in the way forward. Let me begin this session by introducing the topic for the day. As you're aware, mental health and well-being in present times. History has again put the mankind on a threshold where the humanity is put to test, and the inner strength has arisen as the anchor to pass through and come out of the challenging situations, with a newer perspective of life. The toll on mental health and well-being of people, especially our future generation, in the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic has been huge and is going to continue for a long time to come. Our children and adolescents have been affected in terms of their education, career, peer interaction, physical activity, and social life. It has resulted in stress, anxiety, depression, and other mental and behavior problems. In this crucial juncture of life, how do we guide them in the right direction to keep up the spirit's life and approach life with a renewed vigor and fresh energy? It is time to have a renewed focus on the strengths of the young people so that they be resilient enough to keep their hopes and enthusiasm alive and achieve excellence in their life by nurturing the true values of life. Dayanand Sagar University, Bangalore welcomes all the principals and teachers for this virtual webinar and an opportunity to interact with the stalwarts from the consulting, counseling, psychologist industry, as well as the renowned happiness coach, and get to know how to motivate and keep the spirits high for the students. Let me take the opportunity of introducing the speakers for today's program. I'd like to introduce the Honorable Vice Chancellor for Dayanand Sagar University, Professor Dr. K.N.B. Murthy sir. He is the Vice Chancellor at Dayanand Sagar University and also the former Vice Chancellor at PES University. Sir holds a bachelor's degree in Electrical Power Engineering, master's degree in Electrical Engineering from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and PhD in Computer Science and Engineering from Indian Institute of Science and Technology, Madras, Chennai. Sir has a wonderful experience of over 4 decades. Sir has worked as a research specialist in parallel computing at New Mexico State University, US, and is currently the member of Karnataka State Higher Education Council, the chairman of the board of IT Standards, formerly called as BITES, BITES, which is a Government of Karnataka initiative, as well as the chairman for Rangnath Center of Information Studies, called RCIS, and also a distinguished academic senate and the member of Triple IT Dharwad. Sir, a warm welcome to you for today's session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I also like to introduce the next speaker for the day and the person behind this particular event for the day, Mr. Satish Kaushik. He is a consulting counseling psychologist, certified happiness coach, founder trustee of Rajbala Foundation, a national level NGO working in healthcare and education. He has set up counseling, psychological counseling centers in 2 universities, having more than 4,000 students and faculties. Have been conducting live phone-in programs on psychological counseling on 4 community radio stations in the NCR region for more than 2 years, addressing mental health needs of more than 1 million people at the grassroots level. More than 250 episodes have been broadcasted so far, conducting faculty development and mentoring programs for teachers and university faculties. He's also worked in the private and government sector at senior positions for more than 35 years. We'd like to welcome Mr. Satish Kaushik, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Shinde.
The next speaker for the day would be Ms. Deepika Ahuja. She is the founder of the company called Deliver Smiles, a company aiming to create a harmonious and happier work culture in the corporate sector. Driven by the mission to build resilient and happier humans, and having touched innumerable organizations and thousands of individuals, the company has partnered with various colleges as well as part of its CSR initiative. She has been selected as 51 most fabulous happiness leaders in the world by World HRD Congress. As an extension to her entrepreneurial venture focusing on happiness, she has authored the book Demystifying Happiness and has garnered a lot of appreciation from the readers. She got recognized as Iconic Woman Creating a Better World for All by Women Economic Forum in 2020 and was facilitated with Grand Queen's Leadership Award in the area of mental wellness. She believes that happiness is a skill that can be developed through practice and made a way of life, irrespective of what life deals with us. I'd like to welcome Ms. Deepika Ahuja for this event.
Thank you so much, sir.
Our next speaker for the day would be Professor Swati Patra. She's a professor of psychology, School of Social Sciences, Indira Gandhi National Open University, called as IGNOU. With research interest in counseling, mental health, emotional intelligence, positive psychology, parenting, and child and adolescent development, she has earlier worked in National Council of Education Research Training, NCERT. She has various research publications and has edited a book, Perspectives on Mental Health and Well-being in Indian Context. Her professional activities include, among other things, which are course design and development, course writing, course editing, teaching, training, and research guidance. She is a certified happiness coach and a mindfulness trainer. A warm welcome to Professor Swati Patra.
Thank you, Mr. Shinde. Thank you for such kind words.
The next speaker for the day would be Ms. Rama Patnaik. She is the CEO of VITTC, early. She is the head digital transformation on projects, learning and development expert, and a sales coach. She's also a startup mentor, proficient in innovations in business and delivery processes, mostly on the outcome-based education as a specialist. Passionate in driving sustainable, environment-friendly business processes, trained over 1,000+ professors in innovation in engineering teaching, outcome-based education, digital content, gamification, pedagogies, and 4G educational trends. A warm welcome to our speaker, Ms. Rama Patnaik.
Thank you, Srinivas.
And followed by Mr. Sunil Satyavalu. He hails from the Pearl City, Hyderabad, having over 18 years of experience with a perfect blend of working with services and product-based organizations. Sunil is recognized as one of the top influencers in India for education by Business World and joins 40 Under 40 and Elite Club. He has been the guest faculty for entrepreneurship, idea to startup lab at India School of Business, Hyderabad. He strongly believes technology can improve humans' lives immensely if it is used and limited to its purpose. Sunil co-founded EdSense, an intelligent education management cloud-based platform with the blend of academics and psychology. EdSense aims for students' higher achievement and teachers' effectiveness. Sunil has won a national and international award for his short films under environment and social cause. We would like to welcome Mr. Sunil Satyavel.
Thank you, Mr. Shinde.
So we start with the sessions for today. I would like to request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. K.N.B. Murthy, to take over this session and set the context and share your views, sir. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, Srinivas Shinde. Thank you very much for nice introduction. It's my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all the panelists, distinguished panelists, Mr. Satish Kaushik, Professor Swati Patra, Madam Rama Patnaik, Sunil Satyavolu, Madam Deepika Ahuja, for their kind consideration to be with us this morning. I'm happy that the admission department of Dayanand Sagar University, in association with the Rajbala Foundation, has organized a webinar on mental health and well-being. I think the topic is very apt under the present circumstances. All of us are aware that the entire world is going through tough times in the last 1 to 1.5 years because of the COVID pandemic, where everything has been disrupted. We are having a situation wherein we need to come up with newer methods of working, newer methods of living, and newer methods of education, etc. Particularly the principals must be going through a lot of tough times in the last 1.5 years to manage the situation. One good news is that probably in the next 2 to 3 months, more or less the situation may come under control, and this particular thing will be on and off for next 6 to 12 months. That's what been predicted. Because of these kind of situations, I think there's a lot of stress, anxiety levels that are being reduced in all of us. And for the first time, the entire humankind has been challenged in terms of their experience, skills, knowledge. I'm sure the experts would give you few inputs which to be taken as suggestive in nature. And let me admit that I'm not an expert in this domain. However, having invited by the admission team, let me make few opening remarks so that the experts would take over and tell us more about the problem and the possible solutions and how we can take them up. And two things come to my mind. One thing that come to my mind is how we used to handle these kinds of situations in the past. Particularly, this country is well known for handling all kinds of problems. There seem to be solutions provided. It appears the kind of situation that we are in now was also there in the past. Therefore, the ancient India had found some solutions. I think one of the things that are being done in the recent past is to check back what was the solution that was used in the past. Similarly, start reviving some of them and see whether those solutions would find any any kind of, I should say, a kind of the remedy for the situation that we are in. One thing is very clear: this mental health includes emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Second, it affects the way we think, the way we feel, the way we act. Third, it's also important that mental health has to be there at every stage of life, be it childhood, the adult kind of thing, and the old age, whatever. These kinds of things will continue to exist. There are multiple things that have been indicated, but however, the good mental health is defined as a condition or a state when we feel confident, when we feel optimistic, when we feel good. And that's what has been defined. It's also that this mental health can be kept in a good condition, provided we have some kind of methods or some kind of activities. It's nothing but in the form of hobbies or whatever. It's an activity, is an interest, or to pass time that is undertaken for pleasure or relax, done during one's time. Whenever we try to do this kind of activity, that's a hobby. And obviously, a hobby would keep the mental condition or mental health in a good state all the time. There are many hobbies which people can pick up. One is the music, community service, sports, painting, graphic design, reading, fishing, bird watching, then collection of stamps, anything that is going to engage and keep the people interested. That's exactly the feeling good, feeling optimistic, feeling confident, and these kinds of things. And it's also necessary that the other kinds of things which can be done is to connect with people, talk to people. I think that's exactly what was followed in the ancient India. This basically, it was a giant family system where there were enough number of members in the family. There is to speak and exchange the both problems and the happy moments, etc. The second, the people need to be physically active so that the mental health will be much better. And the third is to learn new skills. Whenever you try to take that interest to learn new skills, then the mental state will be better. And the other thing, solution that was found was in the ancient India was care and share, where you need to care for others and also share whatever you have. That happiness of giving is always the one which gives a lot of satisfaction. Whenever satisfaction is there, the good mental health will be there. Then the other thing that was also done at that point of time was pay attention to the present. Whenever you pay attention to the things that we have on hand, not bothering about what's going to happen tomorrow, I think that's the other conditions. When I started doing a little bit of survey or the check in internet, trying to find out what are the reasons why the condition, the mental health conditions are going to be created or the problems get created. I think it appears the modern kind of things, the modern way of life has increased the expectations. Expectations are more now. Possible the requirements are also grown. The third one, aspiration also very high, where we would like to achieve something in the shortest possible time. Possible, these are the reasons for whatever is going to happen. Second, these kind of problems are seen more in the developed countries and the developing countries rather than the other countries. That's the other thing that we are seeing. mostly the reason maybe the social support is missing. First of all, we need to bring in the social support system, and the social support system was very much there in the ancient India, particularly in the giant family system, whereas the social support was given in most of the developed countries by the government. I'm sure there are several things which are going to come out during the deliberations. I'm extremely happy that a topic has been selected and lots of administrators who have been using different techniques to handle the situation are being a part of this particular webinar. I wish this webinar a grand success and thank all the panelists for sparing the time to be with us this morning. And I thank the organizers for the kind invitation extended to me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. Thank you so much for the opening remarks. I would now like to invite the next speaker for the day, Mr. Satish Kaushik, and he would be talking on the topic mental health issues and challenges on the ground. Over to you, Satish.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shinde. And thank you for Dr. Murthy's words also, because he has touched upon various things which are useful to keep your mental well-being. So I'll be talking on simple few things, extension to Dr. Murthy's what he said. So first is we are moving through a new normal now. Everything has changed. After March 2020, I think everything has changed, which used to be normal before that, but now it has become abnormal. So we are we have to stay in house most of the time. That's a new normal now. Second one is staying in family with them, talking to them all the time, and it has brought certain problems also. New way of doing business, new way of teaching. Now most of the things are online. The things which we are doing most of the time, it used to be face-to-face earlier. So that has also become new normal. So most of the things have become new normal. The way we are living, you have never seen people having a mask, washing their hands all the time, keeping social distancing, not visiting other people. That's a new normal. So everything has changed. So we, in a way, we are starting our life again after this pandemic, because it has affected all of us in different ways. So there is a major change which has come in. And this change has brought anxiety, stress, and other, because whenever there is a change, the anxiety and stress will come into life. Then we have to work again and make it normal. And we are trying to do that at present. But the good thing is we are not alone in this. We are all together. The whole world is with all of us. In one of the seminars, some principal, she was talking about it, that somebody said that the children have affected. They have problems. They are not going to the classes. They are not learning now. So there is a problem. So she said, no, we are all together. But by not attending schools, at home also, they are learning something. But we are together and we will cope up with this. Now, in addition to that, let me come back to the mental well-being part. I'll tell you one incident. Myself and some of our volunteers who were psychologists and doctors and professors. So we visited Mr. Kailash Satyarthi. I think you all must be knowing him. Kailash Satyarthi is the head of Bachpan Bachao Andolan, and he is a Nobel laureate. So he has got one center about 120 kilometers my place, Gurgaon. So we went there and we were sitting with him. And after some time, Dr. Satyarthi, because our purpose of visiting him was to talk to him how we can contribute in the area of psychological counseling, talking to children, because the children coming to those places are, they have been saved from, they were involved in child labor and other abused children also. So they take care of them. They teach them, they educate them, and then they go for their vocations also later on. So we were talking, we were sitting in his house at that place, and suddenly he said that sometime I feel that who will be the people who will be needing, we will be needing after 50 years, 40, 50 years, who will be those people? Then after thinking for some time, he said, the psychologist will be the most in demand at that time. But he, at that time, he said after 50 years. But what we are seeing now, we need those people now. So, this incident was about 2.5 years earlier. But the things are happening. We are going through this difficult period. Anxiety, stress is common. People are living, people are not having employment. There are so many problems. And you will be surprised, in our one of the radio programs which we used to do regularly, weekly, during the first lockdown, that program, its name was Udan. Our program was Udan in one of the community radio station in Gurgaon. So we used to do it every Tuesday. So after the lockdown, our program, instead of becoming a counseling program, live counseling program, it became a helpline. Everybody was asking, we are not getting food, we are not getting these facilities, we are not getting. So instead of half an hour program, we used to sit in that program for 2 hours, 2-3 hours, and used to or try to help those people. So things have changed. So we need people, as Mr. Satyarthi mentioned, that we'll be needing psychologists. I'll say we need people to talk to. We don't have people now to talk to. That is very necessary. Talking to family members, talking to other friends when you are in tensions, when you are in anxiety. So, and it is not necessary that you focus only on mental health. For holistic healthcare, it is necessary a complete balance. A proper balance is kept between physical health and mental health. And you will be surprised that sometimes the indication which seems like mental health issues, they are because of physical problems. So we have to take care of both of them. They complement each other. We can't talk of proper health or better health or holistic health by talking about only one aspect of this. They complement each other. Coming back to this aspect, let me talk about the people to talk to. We are short of those people. We don't have those. Because the people you can trust, people you can talk, people you can get validation of what you are thinking. So there is a shortage of that. Let me tell you a story on this. It's a small story, and it's a true incident. There used to be one psychiatrist. His name was Viktor Frankl. I think those who have studied psychology, they may be knowing him. Viktor Frankl was a famous psychiatrist. He was a Jew living in Germany at the time of World War, I think, Second World War. So in that case, what Hitler did, he put all these Jews into concentration camps. And his Viktor Frankl's, the whole family was put into concentration camp, and he lost everybody. except himself. So after 3.5 years in the concentration camp and difficult situations, he came out and he started his practice in Germany. So one night around 3 a.m., a lady called Viktor Frankl, and she said, I want to commit suicide. So Viktor Frankl, being a psychiatrist, he tried to convince her. He tried to give him a lot of logic that why she should not commit suicide. And for half an hour and 45 minutes, 1 hour, he kept on talking to that lady at night and giving him lot of logics, lot of convincing ideas that why she should not do it. So ultimately that lady, after discussing this discussion, she agreed that she will not commit suicide. And the things were over at that time. But after some time, Viktor Frankl was in a party or in a function where he met that lady. And because he was quite inquisitive, what I have said to her that she did not commit suicide. He was worried about, he wanted to know about that. So he asked her, tell me what was my logic or what was my reason after listening to that you have not committed suicide. Give me the reason for that. Were you convinced about what I said? She said, no, I was not convinced at all. I was not convinced whatever logic you have given during that conversation at 3 a.m. at night. Then he asked, so what was the reason you have not committed suicide? That lady, she said, I was convinced that there is somebody at 3 a.m. at night to whom I can talk to. So the best way, in my view, that's why we are having a large number of programs. The best way to relieve your mental health or make it better or have a better, not to have anxiety or stress or any other mental problems, it's better to talk to people. Whom to talk to, that you have to decide. It starts with the family. The first counselor, or I'll say the first psychologist or the counselors will be your family members. Then your friends come in, then your other people, your neighbor, your teachers, everybody with whom you can talk to. With you, you can share your thoughts, you can share your thinking process. All those things. You can talk to somebody. I think as a beginner, to start with, to take care of your mental health issues, it is necessary to talk to these people. Now, and the importance of both for holistic healthcare, it is very necessary that you take care of both the aspects, mental health as well as your physical health. We in Rajbala Foundation, we are conducting large number of these programs. We have counseling center, as Shinde mentioned. I don't want to repeat those things here, but we have more than 250 episodes already conducted in these radio programs. These are in Hindi language, and we have recording also, or we can procure recording from these community radios. Just to give you, tell you about community radios, we have around 306 community radio throughout India, and we cover about 10% of the total population, because every community, these are FM radios, and these community radio, they cover about 20-kilometer radius around them. These are small radios, but they reach to the last person in villages. So these are very important, and these were all live, where people are asking questions about different aspects of their life. So these episodes are available with us. Anybody who needs help, or anybody, we will be more than happy to help in this respect. Mr. Shinde will share all our details. So I'll request all principals, teachers, or other people in schools, because teachers, they are the most important people. The manufacturers or producer, they produce commodities. But what I feel that the teachers, they are the people who make good human beings. So your importance, you are the most important part of making people, making these children good human beings. So with this, thank you very much, and thank you, Shandai.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Satish. It's a pleasure listening to you, especially on a very sensitive topic when it comes to the mental health issues as well as the challenges on the ground. Some good input from you. Thank you so much. A request to all the teachers and principals, in case you have any questions from Mr. Satish or for any of the speakers, you can always use the Q&A box and you can key in your questions, and the answers, we will try and give the answers well within the webinar itself. So we move to the next speaker of the day, speaker number 3, Ms. Deepika Ahuja, and she would be talking on the topic focusing on attitude of gratitude. Over to you, Ms. Deepika Ahuja.
Thank you, Dr. Shinde. Good morning, everyone. I'll start with a small story about myself. Back in 2016, 2017, I was myself a depression patient, and it became very difficult for me to deal with everyday tasks. Everything was, a big thing for me. Even getting up from the bed had become a task for me. And I was taking medications. I was going to therapists, psychologists, and nothing seemed to work. I had just lost, hope, and I had just lost some purpose in my life. It was like everything is purposeless. Everything that I am doing is completely irrelevant. Only those thoughts kept occupying me. And then just to help myself, I started reading about positive psychology, and I will come back to that later. And then in 2018, I started practicing the positive psychology in my own life. And fast forward to 2018, September 2018, me and my husband both were working in the same organization, and we had very recently adopted our daughter. She had been with us only since last 3 months then. And we were called in a meeting, and it was announced that both of us have been laid off from our jobs. We come from a middle class family. We have responsibility of our parents as well. We had loans. We had one son already, and as I said, we had recently adopted our baby girl. And the layoff of both husband and wife, suddenly you get to know that you do not have any income from tomorrow. You do not have anything to run your house from tomorrow. Could have devastated us, but surprisingly, I don't know how, but it did not impact me at all. I was sitting in that room. I looked at my husband and at the HR, and I just thanked God, that this was it. And when I came back home, I just hugged my kids and I folded my hands in front of the God in my small mandir at home. And then I thought about it that, maybe I have reached to a level where even this loss did not impact me. And why was it? How was it? I will now talk about it, that, how did gratitude and positive psychology, did a miracle in my life. And it, and we stayed jobless for around 7 months. And honestly speaking, there was not even a single day, a single moment where I felt lost that, what is the life ahead from here. I was just constantly feeling grateful that I had to deal with a misfortune or something bad in my life, and it just ended with a job loss, which is completely a recoverable loss for me and my husband, of course. There could have been something irrecoverable happening in my family, or some health issues which would have a longer impact and maybe irrecoverable impact on my life. So that was all that was going on in my life. And how did I reach there? Now, coming to the attitude of gratitude that we are talking, and I spoke about my own story because it becomes important, for all of you to know that I am not just preaching. It is something which I am practicing and which has really helped me as a person. So, coming to the part of students, how we can develop this kind of attitude in our students, because we see that, these days, students are very much focused on social media. The real life does not exist for them, more or less. And they are very much into themselves. And now we are moving to nuclear families. So there is very less interaction with people. And most of the children feel that they are, complete in themselves. They do not need people around them. Just a phone is enough. Uh, so there are a few techniques that we can tell our children, and we can ourselves do as well, because if we do it and we find a benefit, then we can convince them to do it better. So first, I think everybody knows about it, making a journal, a gratitude journal, where every day you write, maybe about the people you are grateful to, why you are grateful to them. Second thing, apart from a journal, which I personally do with my son, and it has really worked wonders with my son. He's just 12 years, and I started doing it with him when he was 8 years old. And when I started doing this activity with him, he was completely lost. So the activity is 3 best things that have happened with you today. So when I started this activity with him, he would be completely lost. Nothing great happened with me. And today, when we do this exercise, he comes up, even in this lockdown period, when he's not meeting anybody, when he's not playing, when he's not going down to play with his friends, he comes up with at least 10 to 12 best things of the day. And he takes at least 20 to 30 minutes to shortlist 3 things out of those. So it is just about practice. When we start doing it, we do not realize about these small good things that are happening throughout the day, and that is why we become unconscious towards them. We become ungrateful towards them. However, when we consciously put our effort that, okay, today, like today's talking to you all, will at the end of the day will be one of the best things that happened with me today. Okay, in a normal scenario, I may just ignore it. Or even having a meal, even the fact that I did not get infected by COVID, all those things are the best things that are happening with me throughout the day. And if we keep practicing it, it makes us consciously aware of all the good things happening around us, which in general we take for granted. So we can tell our students to do these kind of activities when they come in the class, or when they go back home. Just ask them to write in their diary, what are the 3 best things that happened to me today. And then that will make them very conscious about the things. And after a week or so, they will be very conscious in that moment itself, that okay, this is something good that is happening with me right now. Third, on the similar lines, is let's say I come to my room and I try to switch on the light and it does not work. I will be like, oh God, this light never works. Or if I go to, let's say, even the washroom of my school where I work, or the university where I work, and it's not clean, I will be like, these people cannot even do their job properly. The washroom is not clean. What happens if I find it clean? It just goes unnoticed. We forget that somebody would have come here in the morning and cleaned that and made it usable. Or my workspace in my office. If I go there and there is no dust and everything is in place, I will not even notice it. However, if it is not clean or if I cannot find some of my things in place, I will definitely crib about it that these people cannot do their job properly. They had to do this, but they did not do this. So, consciously putting your effort on each and everything which is working the way you want it to work. Like right now, you wanted an internet connection, you needed a phone, and it is working fine. So we are not even noticing that these things are working fine. If one of us had an internet issue, we will be like, this internet never works properly. Whenever I need it, it does not work. So consciously putting your effort in whatever is working fine, starting from when you step down from your bed in the morning, it feels like a miracle that you are not even thinking about it and you are able to step forward. How is it happening? All of the things seem like a miracle. Like right now I'm talking to you and my hands are just moving. I am not making a conscious effort to do that, but having been able to do that itself is a miracle and something to be grateful for. So if we try to bring our conscious attention to everything that is working fine, we will feel that there are thousands of things in a day which go well, and there is just one or two things which do not go fine, for which we crib more than thanking for those 1,000 things. So this is one exercise that we can do ourselves and can also recommend to our students. Another thing that we can do is thanking everybody for whatever we are getting. Let's say if I am having my lunch today, looking at that lunch and thanking everybody responsible for me having this plate of food today. Who all are responsible? The farmers, the person who is manufacturing the seeds, transportation, my gas cylinder guy who comes and deliver it to me, the grocery delivery guy, my parents for enabling me to earn and to buy things, everybody around. So when we do this exercise, especially for kids of this generation, they need to understand that we live in a social environment, we live in a community, and no matter how much we feel that we are equipped within ourselves, just by having a phone, there are millions of people who are responsible for us to even have a plate of food in front of us. It's just not that I am equipped enough and that is why I am having this plate. Even this pencil in my hand, at least if I start counting, there will be at least 1,000 people who would be responsible for having me this pencil in my hand. So in your class you can do these kind of activities every day. You can pick one thing and start counting, writing on the blackboard that who all are responsible for it. And it really gives you a very wholesome and a very inclusive feeling, and you start feeling grateful towards people who you do not even know. One more thing that can be done in a class exercise is writing notes or writing letters to the people you feel grateful to. This may be there in our mind all the time. However, when we start writing, it has a very different impact, and especially on a pen and a paper rather than typing. Maybe I'm old school, but I feel that writing on a paper or a notebook has a different impact than writing. So you can ask your students to write a letter to somebody they feel grateful to, and 3 things why do they feel grateful to this person in specific. Not just that I am very grateful to my mother because she does a lot of things for me. Ask them to write what things do they appreciate. Because when, it is very easy for us to say, I am very thankful to my parents because they brought me up. But there would be certain things, for which really made me a me. So if we write those things down, again, it is only about the conscious awareness that we bring to ourselves, that, these are the specific things because of by which I feel grateful to my teacher or my friend or my parent or anybody in my life. Another thing that can be done in a school is having an activity on thanking the community workers in the school, doing something for them. Maybe just giving them a note or a flower, having an activity where all the students go and thank the community workers and see the expression on their faces. How do they feel? Because they are the ones who are often taken for granted, that they are just doing their job. However, if they are not doing their job, it really makes our lives miserable. So thanking the community workers, we can also give an activity to our students to thank the traffic policemen standing on the road. Just ask them that on a Sunday, you just give a thank you note with a maybe a Bisleri water bottle to one of the traffic policemen, and thank them for what they are doing, standing in the sunlight and doing their job day in and day out, and see the expression on their face. So gratitude is something which just keeps multiplying. The more we thank, the more we express our gratitude, the more abundance keeps coming back to us. And it's not really what keeps coming back to us. It's just that we become much more aware of everything good that is happening around us, and that really helps. So these are some of the activities that I had in my mind to develop an attitude of gratitude in ourselves as well as in our students. And as I mentioned, around 5 to 6 activities. You can have a Monday to Saturday and divide the activities, different activities in a day, and see how it goes. How do the kids start feeling it? And just a disclaimer that an attitude of gratitude does not come in a day. Like I said, I started working with my son when he was 8, and it took him around 3 to 4 weeks to reach a state where he started writing 5 things, 6 things. Now he's at 11 to 12 things in a day. So that keeps developing, and our responsibility as teachers and their guides is to be patient with them. There will be kids who will be able to write just 1 thing. There will be kids who will be able to write 10 things. But let us not compare and give everybody an insight. Let us help them, that just as a facilitator, as a coach, let us just help them that, okay, think about something else. Okay, how did you reach school today? So your bus was working fine. Was the AC working in the bus? Did the attendant of the bus treat you well? When you walked inside the school, did you find it clean? Just give them that perspective, the holistic perspective, so that it just keeps building in them. And that is it from my side. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Shinde.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Deepika Ahuja. One of the biggest challenges currently that the principals are facing is that it's been almost close to a year that they have seen the children in the class, and everything is currently being online. And in the last couple of webinars that we conducted for school principals, in fact the last one was the effect of pandemic on board examinations and way forward, many principals wrote to us that the biggest challenge that they find in doing everything online is to get the concentration of the students. And because of the concentration not being available, they are not able to, in fact, they do not know whether whatever is being taught in the class is getting in the right way into the mind of the children? Are there disturbances? Because in the way we have challenges in work from home, our own challenges because housework also becomes important. In the same way, when children are attending classes, the question of attention also has been discussed a lot. So maybe sometime later we would like to discuss with some expert panels on looking at this area also being solved, because when children are not coming to these schools, what is it that I can do to increase the engagement with them? Of course, there are classes, there are attendance happening online, but that has been one of the major challenges. So we'll definitely look at some inputs from you on that also. Thank you very much for your session. And if there are any questions coming in for Ms. Deepika Ahuja, you can all, I request all the teachers to please put it in the Q&A box, and we'll have Ms. Deepika Ahuja answering it to it on a one-to-one basis. We now move to the next speaker of the day. I'd like to take the opportunity of inviting Dr. Swati Patra and having a very interesting topic. Everybody wants this, being happy. Over to you, Dr. Swati Patra.
Thank you, Mr. Sindhe. Very good morning to all of you. And I'll be talking about being happy. So first, let me express my happiness to be a part of this very relevant webinar, and a wonderful webinar where we are focusing on the mental health and well-being of our younger generation, children and adolescents. Okay. Because this is very important to know about, because this is a term, happiness, that we very commonly use. Okay. But have we really understood it about what does it mean? Okay. So if you take the current scenario, okay, the COVID pandemic, so there has been so much of stress all around. Okay, there is anxiety, there is fear, there is uncertainty in everything. So the question might come that in this kind of scenario, how can one be happy? Okay. So it might seem a little contradictory that, okay, so much of stress is there, so much of panic, sense of panic, or so much of anxiety and fear, uncertainty is there. So how can one be happy about it? So for this, we need to understand what do we mean by happiness. Okay. Now, I'll just tell a particular story. I think many of you might have seen this video also on the social media or WhatsApp and other social media. This goes like this, that the class teacher came to the class and asked the students, all of the students, to write about what do you want to be in life? This was the question that the teacher gave to the students. Write down, what do you want to be in life? Okay. Now, all of the students, they took their time and wrote what do they want to be in their life. Okay. One student was thinking what to write, and then he wrote on his paper, happy. What do you want to be in life? He wrote, I want to be happy. Okay. Now, the students, one by one, they submitted their papers. They gave the papers to their teacher. And then when this particular student gave his paper to the teacher and then was going out, the teacher saw the paper and then called the student back. Okay. The teacher said, I think probably you have not understood the assignment, the question which I gave you. Okay. And by seeing the answer of the students, he said this. Now, the student said, paused for a little, and then he said that, Miss, maybe probably you have not understood the meaning of life. So what do we see here? Okay. It indicates that life is all about being happy. Okay. Ultimately, what do we focus on? What we teach our children to focus on? Okay. Do we focus on getting happiness? Do we teach our children, tell our children to focus on happiness or anything else? Majority of cases, we see that we tend to focus on the material aspects, the money, the fame, name, success, achieving things in life, achieving different kinds of, having different kinds of positions in life, all those things. Okay. So I would say that this is not wrong actually, that we can focus on, because money, if you take the example of money is definitely important. Okay. If you go by the theories that are there in psychology, or money is important, up to, otherwise you will not be able to acquire different things that are required for living a comfortable life. So research studies also have shown that money is important, but up to a particular point, not beyond that. Okay. So that is why you must have seen various cases where the person may be highly achieving in their life, okay, have acquired different things, different positions, everything is there in their life, but still they are not happy, they're not satisfied, they don't get that kind of peace in their life. Why? Because all these things, having material things, money and everything, these are important up to a particular point only, but beyond that they do not lead to true happiness, or they do not lead to the inner satisfaction, inner peace. So that is why so many cases we are seeing that despite having everything, the persons, the individuals are not getting a sense of happiness. So here, and also there is a contradictory in individuals, like in us, that we say that we want happiness. Okay, if you ask people, they will say, okay, we want happiness in our life, but why don't we get it? Then why these complaints that we are not able to be happy? So here, this thing is that we are not prioritizing happiness. If we want happiness, we need to make it priority. Okay, so our priority becomes something else. We tend to acquire wealth, acquire different things and everything. Okay. We look at other people, they have this kind of different kinds of positions or material things. So we also tend to think that, okay, we also need to have those things. So if we are prioritizing happiness, then we need to focus on it. So many times it happens that we say that we want to be happy, but it turns out that we do not focus on it. We do not prioritize this in our life. Now here, I would like to say that happiness, when we talk about happiness, it can be derived from two sources. Okay. One is that we can say that happiness can be derived from the simple pleasures of life. Okay. For example, like having an ice cream or eating a chocolate or going out and having party or visiting places, okay, spending time with family and doing some playing something, some game or something else, okay, or watching TV or movie. Okay. So these are simple pleasures of life. We derive happiness out of these simple pleasures of life. Okay. In research, we call it as hedonic perspective on happiness. Okay. Similarly, we also derive happiness from great causes of life. That is, we contribute to the society, we do something meaningful, we create something, we become productive. Okay. Like we volunteer in the COVID time, during the current crisis, you will find that so many people, okay, they are going out of their way and contributing to the society, helping out people. So these are also, we can say, sources of happiness. And this, we can say that eudaimonic sense of happiness. In research, we call it eudaimonic sense of happiness. So I can say that happiness can be derived from the simple pleasures of life and also from the great causes of life, where you go beyond yourself, the little things that where you derive pleasure for yourself, you go beyond that and do something meaningful. You contribute to the society, you help people. Okay. So that is eudaimonic sense of happiness. That is doing, deriving happiness from great causes of life. Now, when we talk about Indian context, because whenever we talk about this positive psychology, my previous speaker Deepika was talking about gratitude. So these are all related to positive psychology constructs. So be it gratitude or be it happiness or be it resilience, so all these things when we talk about, we definitely need to focus on the cultural context. Okay, since we are speaking about the Indian context, so here we can find out like what exactly we, how do we perceive it in our context. Okay. Now, as I said, hedonic perspective of happiness and eudaimonic perspective of happiness, That is happiness derived from the simple pleasures of life, and also happiness derived from the great causes of life when you contribute to the society voluntarily. The Indian context, they go beyond this. Okay, not only hedonic, the pleasures, and not only eudaimonic or contributing to the society, but it talks about going beyond this also to reach, to achieve, to get that happiness, that sense of happiness. So they talk about going beyond this and reaching a level of transcendence. Okay. Transcendence is that you go beyond this and reach a blissful state of happiness. Okay. Here in Indian context, we call it as ananda. Okay. Like having that sense of ananda or the blissful state of happiness. So here it is that we talk about happiness is that it is not something to be achieved, okay, but it is a mental state that we need to be in, that blissful state or that ananda state where you get that inner sense of happiness. That is why it is like very important to, in the Indian context, we always focus on reaching to the inner being, the having that inner sense of happiness. Okay. So now when we talk about happiness in these various sense, okay, the important question here that comes here is that, okay, this is fine that we mean that happiness is this or happiness is this, or for happiness we need to go reach our inner being and have that inner sense of happiness. Okay. So how do we achieve this? How do we get this happiness? How do we reach that state of happiness, that blissful state of happiness, or the inner state of happiness? Now, for this also, we can say that various research studies have said that there are different factors that determine our happiness. Okay. They say that 50% of our happiness, it is genetically determined. Now, when I say that 50% of our happiness is determined by our heredity, or there is a set point, genetically set point that, okay, you get 50% of our happiness from your genetic factor. Now, this means that then we will not be able to have happiness in our life. Okay. But we can see that there is the other aspects also. Now, 50% is genetically determined, 10% is determined by our external circumstances. Okay. Like, for example, the recent COVID pandemic is going on. So all these are affecting our happiness. Okay. But if we leave out this 50% and 10%, okay, we can take heart that there is the other 40%, which is under our control, so that we can get happiness. Now, what is that other 40%? It refers to the intentional activities that we ourselves can carry out, so that we can have this sense of happiness. Okay. So now this happiness formula is given by, in the research, Sonja Lyubomirsky. She is a psychologist who has done this research and has come out with these propositions that this 40%, so we need to focus on this 40%. Okay. By focusing on this 40%, where we can do activities intentionally, so that we can create happiness. Okay. Because happiness is not something that can be given to us, but we have to create our happiness. So that is how, like, happiness is like, how do you respond to situations? Like Deepika was saying, that having a sense of gratitude, it is how do we respond to the situation. Okay. In case of her job loss, okay, or any other situation in her life. So how did she perceive that situation? How did she respond to that situation? That becomes important. Okay. And from that sense of gratitude and sense of accepting the situation, then comes the action point. Okay. So it is not that when we say about like the current uncertainty is there in the current scenario, there is so much of uncertainty. So how long we will be able to accept this uncertainty? The question here is that it is not a question of accepting the uncertainty, this thing. We have to accept the uncertainty and then go beyond this and take action. Simply accepting and then resigning and just sitting down, that will not help. That will not lead to a sense of happiness. But when we are accepting the situation, the next point will be that we are taking some action. Okay. Whether it is conveying our sense of gratitude or doing some other things like engaging in some activities. All these things, that action will lead to a sense of happiness. So in Delhi, for example, there is happiness curriculum. The Delhi government has in the schools, they have introduced the happiness curriculum, and which has resulted in very wonderful things. And also in India, there are various initiatives, like, for example, Madhya Pradesh government, they have a happiness department. It is called Ananda Vibhag. Okay. So various initiatives are being taken to make the students happy, to develop this sense of happiness in the students. And for that, they do various activities like developing sense of gratitude also, bringing in a sense of mindfulness also. So all these things lead to sense of happiness in the students. So I would say that being happy is a choice that we can make. It is not something that we need to wait for that happiness. If these things happen, then only we will be happy. No, we have to create the happiness. Okay. So it is a choice that we have to make, that being happy is a choice that we can make. And one of our previous speakers, Satish Kaushik, he had talked about Viktor Frankl. So now Viktor Frankl, one particular quote is that he had said that everything can be taken away when he was in the Nazi concentration camp. So he had survived that concentration camp, and he said that everything can be taken away from the individual except one thing. And that is the last of the freedom that we have with us, human beings have. And what is that? That to choose our attitude in any given circumstance. If we choose our attitude, when I say choosing our attitude, it means that how do we respond to that particular situation? And in that lies the secret of happiness, creating happiness. So at the end, I would emphasize again that when we talk about happiness, we can talk about the hedonic sense of happiness, that is happiness derived from simple pleasures of life, and also the eudaimonic sense of happiness, that is happiness derived from the great causes of life. And then we need to move from these happiness to a higher level of happiness, the transcendence level, or going to that blissful state of happiness, which we call Ananda. And for reaching that level of happiness, we need to engage. How do we do this? We need to engage in intentional activities. Intentional activities like we can do exercise, we can create something, we can contribute to the society, we can do volunteer work, we can express our gratitude to people. So different things, different activities that we can deliberately undertake so that we can create happiness. And this will lead to sustainable happiness, actually, the authentic happiness, the true happiness. Okay. So I think I would end with this. Thank you, all of you, for listening to me. Thank you, Mr. Sindhi.
Thank you so much, Dr. Swati Patra. Wonderful explanation, wonderful examples been given. I'm sure a lot of the principals and school teachers will find this beneficial. I request all the principals, participants, teachers, if you have any queries related to the topic that was being delivered by Dr. Swati Patra, you could always put it in the Q&A, and we will look forward to answering to all the queries. Thank you so much, Dr. Swati Patra.
Thank you.
We now move to the next speaker. I would like to take the opportunity of inviting Mr. Sunil Satyavalu, and he would be expressing his views on the topic social isolation, implications for mental health. Over to you, Mr. Sunil.
Thank you.
Do you want the screen sharing?
Yeah, I want to share the screen.
Sure, please go ahead.
All right, so I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, very much.
So thank you so much, firstly, to making me part of such important topic. And I always call this as an undeclared pandemic, and it's a silent wave people have failed to notice. mental health and well-being are the most important elements. We see people making it to IIMs, IITs, and then kind of killing themselves. And what kind of support they would have needed right from the school level is something that always bothers me. And we see a lot of grown-up people who behave like childs, who behave like children. Possibly they would have given enough support. So I'm personally quite excited with a session like this, and for all the principals who are taking a special care on a Saturday to spare some time to, in anticipation of knowing something new and then executing it and then cultivating this within your school. So kudos to all you leaders for taking a step like this. Probably share things which I know, which I have acquired and have personally experienced. Social isolation is something which I believe is the way most of the students are facing right now as an issue, and that's absolutely by chance, and there is no alternative for people. But what I'm going to share is few things that we can figure out on how do we address this is the main topic that's going to be. So a lot of research that went in place, and many people strongly recommend to focus on social and emotional learning, and that's what we at EdSense focus as well. What we strongly believe is social and emotional learning has a direct impact, may not be measurable all the time, but direct impact on the academic outcomes as well. And they grow up as a complete people, right? So they become capable, not just eligible kind of stuff. So if a person is not able to experience the necessary levels of social contact and behavior, they experience social isolation. It's not a new thing that we are reading for the first time. But how do we kind of relate it to the current scenario? Social relationships are critical to maintenance of health, and lack of them often correlates with feelings of loneliness. And researchers Donay and Adam in 2010 itself, they've mentioned that this is what is happening. The reason why I'm bringing on all the old data, something, the third point talks about something identified in 2012. And in the research that happened in 2009, also they spoke about it, what needs to be done. The point which I am trying to make here is that currently what we are dealing with is not just because of the pandemic. The problem always exists when it comes to deprioritizing or lack of focus on emotional well-being. It is the current scenario which is actually highlighting the gaps in a much more significant way for us, because we are seeing it day in, day out. Parents see it day in, day out. Teachers feel for it. Some of the qualified teachers have some best practices to address it. Some of them don't have it. So the theory on this, or the research on this, has always mentioned the importance of this and the consequences of this, right? If we focus on the second point, socially isolated children are at increased risk of health problems in adulthood. Furthermore, studies on social isolation have demonstrated that a lack of social relationships negatively impact the development of brain structure. In extreme cases of social isolation, studies of young mice and monkeys have shown how the brain is strongly affected by a lack of social behavior and relationships. This study took place in 2012 by another 4 amazing researchers. So therefore, the recommendation is to increase social interactions, offer adequate social support, and bring right support to the people at time. How do we do that is the question in this social isolation. Now, there are a lot of online platforms where people can get engaged with the right forums and on the right content. But most importantly for the schools, to develop 21st century skills, which is communication, collaboration, and all the problem solving skills and all that stuff, offering them project-based learnings is something which I strongly recommend, to bring people together, saying that, hey, can you build a low-cost oxygen concentrator kind of a stuff, not expecting them to come up with a solution, but how do we bring them together on one forum where their time is utilized effectively, and if the outcome is really, really good, then obviously it's a rewarding point for them. But most importantly, what we're trying to do is to break the chain of social isolation here. So bring in these concepts of project-based learning, bring elements of collaboration onto online platforms, bring sessions wherein they themselves, students themselves can have their own channel, or teachers themselves can have their own channel where they talk to people and then take feedback, then work on the feedback. So try to leverage the online platforms to make sure that the social isolation element is really, really addressed. Otherwise, if you see the image here, they basically have all the puzzles, gaming, and the iPad lying there and the music system, but still the kid is extremely unhappy because that's the only thing they have in their hands. Apart from that, to talk to somebody, it's very, very difficult. Now, how do we do that? Parents themselves or teachers themselves can have a lot of things that can demonstrate. They don't have to tell children what to do, but give them that experience of what needs to be done so that they'll be able to take care of it, right? Two important element on mental health, which are key contributors out of a lot of other things, is family instability is something which I wanted to highlight really, really well, is linked to the problem behaviors and some academic outcomes as well, even at the early ages. Children problem behaviors further increase with multiple changes in family structure. Because of current COVID scenario, some kids are having to live outside of their house if the parents are kind of affected with COVID. Now, there is an environment change. How are they going to react to it? And family transitions that occur every child also happens on the child development, and children demonstrate more negative behavior when they lack emotional and mental support that they are supposed to receive from parents, right? So therefore, currently who are constantly in touch with are the teachers who are constantly in touch with the children. Not all the time, but at least wherever there is a constant engagement happening, that is happening from the teacher, because unless the teacher is also kind of unfortunately affected with COVID, we don't expect a new teacher to take over the class. But if they're not connected with the parent, then obviously teacher is somebody who's a very common thread among them. So therefore, for all the school leaders who are present in this session today, it's very, very important to give them that moral support to make sure that they become a support system for the children. Because at this point of time, there is a lot of value as a school leader you are expected to deliver, which is intangible, which is not part of your deliverable as well. It's not never written anywhere as a part of your role and responsibility. But what we're talking about is a need of an hour kind of a stuff, right? This is where I call it as a situational leadership. You all chime in, you bring in the value to parents saying that, hey, your kid is unwell, but don't worry, my teachers are taking care. Just one line like this will give a lot of peace of mind to them, right? And instability in out of home context as well. So now, when it comes to teachers, how are they behaving with the children? Sorry, ma'am, I did not do my homework because my parents are affected with COVID. Then teacher says that, I mean, I don't care, right? I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm just saying some of the reactions, how it can work in adverse way. I don't care, you're expected to finish your homework. Rather than doing that, absolutely fine, don't worry, your parents are warriors, we'll take care of this homework, don't worry. Where do you need your help kind of stuff, right? So these are never written anywhere in the rule of book, but it is all the situational leadership, that element which will be demonstrated by you and which will further be inserted into your school academic team's DNA as well, so that they always demonstrate these qualities into the right environment to the people who are needing support. Now, some quick figures I wanted to draw your attention to. Is this pandemic new? Is this the situation that we are handling something like this for the first time? Now, let's closely look at last 50 years. What are the different pandemics that we have come across? Very first one, 2019, we're talking about year 2020, which is the coronavirus. Mortality rate is 2.08%. And it's spread across to 210 countries, right? But if you see, something like this happened in 2009 as well, right? H1N1 as well. And this spread across to 214 countries. And look at some of the crazy figures for the mortality rate there. Avian or MERS or SARS, various other aspects. If you see, the mortality rate has been really, really crazy. And it is just that this game is extremely new for us. Now let's reset our expectations on when is pandemic getting over. Let's not even try to be funny with that thought process. Let's learn that we are not able to completely kill most of the things that we are living with. Some amazing people have done brilliant work, so we were able to more or less kill polio to a larger extent. And in the same manner, a lot of research is happening. Vaccination will develop to handle all kind of virus variants and all that stuff. So let us not take any questions from the teachers or parents saying that when is this going to end, because we don't know. The simple answer is this table, right? Say that, do you know when this H1N1 came into picture? Do you think it is completely killed? Do you know how many days or how many months or years it took for us to develop the right vaccine to fight all the variants and all that stuff, right? So when we don't have a choice of eradicating that instantly, despite all the developments that are happening around the world, then what do we have is to find out the right escape and right fighting mechanism to deal with this in the current scenario. A new normal is a very heavily used jargon, but I still believe this is not normal. This is undoubtedly, this is abnormal, but we don't have a choice. We need to figure out a way to live with it and then make sure that we are setting right expectation. Because as a school leader, unfortunately, most of the parents and teachers expect you to know everything. They also expect you to be a scientist, which is not possible, right? So then you can't answer everything that they will ask. So the answer is something like this, saying that, hey, you know, last 50 years, how many such pandemics would have happened? And I was surprised when I used to travel to my college. I used to go through in Hyderabad, I used to go through a place called quarantine, and I never knew some 100 years back that was a quarantine center for some virus like this. So just imagine the over information that we have access to right now because of the heavy technology development, how much we are bothered to know more and then speculate and then really get worried about. I think those are the days where they have absolutely no visibility to information. They are in peace. They were able to fight it better, right? So over information is another reason why people are facing this issue within the walls in their house. They're socially isolated. They're getting this over information and they're worried about it, right? So therefore it becomes a little more unwritten rule for all the school leaders to also give them some picture saying that these are the facts. Please wake up and try to understand these things, right? So that is the reason I wanted to draw your attentions onto this. Now, also imagine on the children, what would they go through in day out, right? Can anybody guess take a wild guess on how many times each parent uses a no statement in the house? Can anybody take a guess, a very wild guess? Can respond on chat or on unmute yourself and speak.
So we have not given the access for the talk.
Okay.
It's only going to be on chat here.
Okay. All right. So on chat, anybody want to take a stab at it, folks? How many times would a parent use no or no statements in the house on a single day? So 5 times. Mitra Sinha ji is extremely positive, infinite number of times. Over 109 times is what a research says. Every time a children listens to a no statement, 109 times on an average. It could be as simple as don't eat this, to don't turn on the TV, to don't climb onto the window, to anything of these sorts, right? Saying that don't do that. So now just imagine the emotional well-being of those children which are always coming across no statements for weeks together, months together. Now, unfortunately, most of the parents who have no other option but to work from home are having to go through this, and their emotional well-being has gone for a toss as well. So everybody is equally impacted, but some of them don't have a choice to react, unfortunately. So some of the tips that we can use instead of no statements is possibly, and all these inputs are for the teachers, and so that the school leaders can actually give these inputs to teachers so that they can educate their parents. Indirectly, your institution will end up giving a lot of value to their parents as well, right? So this is a value, a proposition kind of statements that we need to make, saying that, hey, what are some of the things that you're doing currently? Instead of doing that, why don't you do these things? So indirectly, the child from your school is getting benefited, but you're also translating that value to all of them, right? So if then warnings kind of a stuff, right? Will only be effective if you're consistent in how you give it to them, right? Saying that you don't do this kind of a stuff, rather than saying don't do, and just tell them if you don't do, probably I'm not going to give you your TV time kind of stuff, but don't use it too often. And then the behavioral correction is going to happen in a drastic manner, which you cannot revive. Only give children and if then statement once. So do not repeat it too often, because they will take it easy and they will not take you so seriously. So make sure you use that really, really cautiously, and give kudos about 5 seconds to give kids about 5 seconds to being into comply. So make a statement and then give them 5 seconds time for them to kind of react to it, right? If you don't put your shoes on right now, then we won't go to the park kind of stuff. Then you don't make this statement and then get submerged into your mobile or TV screen, and then after 1 hour realize that, okay, I made some statement, what was that kind of stuff? That can't be the case. It's a constant job. It's a 24/7 job. Like I always say, parenting is not art, it's science. So you have to watch out your actions really, really well. So give the time, 5 seconds time for your child to absorb what you're expecting them to do. Then make sure that they're reacting to it, and then you use it cautiously. Offer reasonable consequences. Avoid saying something like, if you don't put your bike away right now, then you will never be allowed to ride it again. It's an unreasonable statement. You know for sure it's not going to happen. So if you make some statements like this, which are not possible to execute, then kids will take you for granted, saying that, okay, he's anyways making this statement. Last 10 times he made the statement or she made the statement, but I know for sure they're not going to stick to that, right? So do not set that wrong expectation. Usually kind of say the next 1 day you're not going to use your bicycle or something like that, right? And use a calm tone when giving if statements, if and then statements, right? Do not shout on them, right? Subsequent slides I'm going to talk about modeling as well, but do not shout at them, because they're exactly going to reciprocate your actions, right? And pair if then statements kind of route, right? Like that, if you do this, probably I'll give you this kind of a stuff, right? So these are some tips and tricks to be used instead of making no statements, because no statements have a huge emotional baggage on children that will have a negative impact on them. At times it will work so negatively that the revival might be really, really difficult for you, right? So that is the reason make use of these statements. Now, measure social and emotional learning and plan and execute strategies to improve that, right? So there is no hard and fast rule when it comes to improving something if you can't really measure it. So if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So that is the reason tracking social and emotional learning for every child and then determining your action is super, super crucial. So therefore, it's a super important thing, right? And modeling, like I said in the previous slide, is a very, very important thing. Most of the times, modeling often referred to as a strongest parenting strategy, but I also believe it's a leadership strategy as well. How you react to your situation, your teachers are going to adapt to that, and how the teachers are going to react to particular situation, the kids are going to adapt, and therefore they also have an additional learning source of parenting, wherein their modeling also will come and add more and more to it, right? Some of the points, like the mother tells, don't watch TV, it's not good for your eyes, go and study, but the mother always watches TV, it's not going to help. And father has a bad habit and he preaches, he does not follow. So like everybody, all of us know, kids are great imitators. So if we do not give them the right modeling opportunities, they would just pick up our habits and then kind of make sure that they only stick to those behaviors. So modeling becomes super, super crucial, not just for parenting, but also for all the amazing school leaders we have here. Be a model, lead by example, so that you demonstrate right leadership skills, so that the teachers demonstrate these qualities when they communicate to parents or children. Therefore, modeling is a very, very key strategy, not just for parenting, but also for the teaching and learning aspect of it. Very, very important aspect to understand is modern problems need modern solutions. We will not be using outdated tactics, outdated solutions, or outdated strategies to fix the modern problem. Let us use technology. Let us use the trend that is happening that will help children. Apart from understanding, so it's like we're going to use polio vaccine for COVID, right? How hilarious that will be. It is exactly the same thing if we use outdated parenting techniques on our children. They're kind of already programmed. They're programmed children. They're much more smarter. All the millennial people need an advanced level of understanding. Now, that is where technology comes into picture. When you wanted to measure it in an appropriate manner, measure it in the way that you understand the solutions really, really well. You understand the problem really, really well, rather than a trial and error kind of a mode in the production. Don't do that if it is not proven for you. So that is where technology comes into picture. Make technology work for you. So stick on to this jargon. Modern problems need modern solution. Very, very important one. Now, parenting styles. Sunil, are you trying to do a parenting session here? That's not the attempt here. The reason why I wanted us to focus on parenting style is in the remote environment, unless you know the parent really, really well, you cannot partner with them really, really well. You're not seeing the children every day. So therefore, the bridge for you and children is going to be parent. Now, if you understand these things, again, modern problems need modern solutions kind of a stuff. If you leverage technology to kind of probably understand your parents well, so that you understand the children well, you understand the parent well, then you leverage parents to get onto the solution mode where ultimately the child is going to get benefited. So all these parenting styles, in my opinion, are going to be super, super crucial as a part of your teaching strategy, not just for your academic and also for your non-academic. This parenting style understanding will also help you to deal with certain parents who will have a unique requirements kind of a stuff, right? So these are few things which I strongly believe are super crucial in the current scenario, given the pandemic uncertainty that all of us are dealing with. I believe we should be as innovative as possible to get the best for all the children out there. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Sunil. Wonderful listening to you. In fact, many people in the chat are requesting that please send us your PPT. I said that's at the sole discretion of the speaker.
Sure.
And speaker can always share it. So thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
We now move to the next session, which is the last speaker for the day. And we would like to have Ms. Rama Patnaik. And she would be talking to you on the very important topic, how to put in these best practices on the mental health in your schools. Over to you, Rama. You want to do screen sharing?
Yes.
You need
Good
to unmute.
afternoon, all. I am.
Yes.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm audible now.
Yes, Rama.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, Rama.
So, thank you, Shini. It's wonderful listening to all learned people, especially on the psychology and the current situation, knowing about what is going on and how, in fact, the situation around now. So, I'm actually sharing my screen.
One second,
Are you able to see?
Rama. One second, Rama. I will first stop sharing. Now you can share the screen. Yeah, you can go to slideshow.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes. You can go to slideshow. Yeah, done.
Yes. Right. Okay. So that's a quick, joke for all of us, right? Because we had very, very heavy session, a lot of things to chew up. So I thought I will just lighter the whole moment before we get into one more important topic, best practices at school for well-being of students, right? I liked this joke, right? So one teacher says, you can't sleep in my class. The student says very calmly, yes, if you are a little more quiet, I could easily sleep, right? That's a funny one. But it gives a lot of various perceptions from these jokes. I always learn from Calvin jokes about the schools and all that. So there are a lot of learning when there are plenty of jokes on school students, teachers, atmosphere in the school. We all wanted to do the best for the students but why so many jokes about teachers, schools and all, right? So though we take in very lighted, but it gives us lot of learning somewhere where we have to do some kind of changes in our system or in ourselves, the way we deal with the students and all, right? So before I go to the actual session, I wanted to tell you all here, because I have all the principals on the call and many teachers, why it is required. What is so much is we are talking about wellness of the student, right? So as we all know that, the student mental strength is built within 5 years, right? Or how he is going to build his later stages. And as well as most of the child's, most of the humans, right? Even you take decision making or reacting, responding to the situation, and thinking, feeling, everything, is built basically by 18th birthday. That is what the statistics says about. So it's all in the school where we, the teachers, school principals are so responsible, right? Because the whole next generation is built in the schools, right? So, uh, you know, friends, that is the importance of, making some activities, having some best practices in the school for mental well-being. And the last statistics, last statement is very important. If you look at 80% of the young people feel embarrassed, right, about the mental illness, don't want to tell any others, right? This is my worry. 81%, though they know internally that I have some problem, they don't even know it is a problem. They know that I am not like others. That is what they can understand. But still, they are not able to tell anybody. They are not able to share their, issues with anybody. That is the place where we require to focus more, right? Okay, so a little bit more on that. I'm very happy to give you this kind of, statistics. Uh, Psychological competency is now treated as a new skill, right? We're talking about creative thinking, we are talking about decision making, we are talking about teamwork, team building. There are a lot of things, like, along with that, right? Most of the organizations now looking at psychological competency. So everybody needs that psychological competency, and as a school we need to focus on the psychological competency of every student, right? And how do I do that? Everybody should know the knowledge of psychological competency, what it is and all, but maybe only 30 to 40% needs the interventions of psychological, I don't call it as treatment, psychological interventions. For example, simple things like the student is always late to the class, right? Always, right? Most of the teachers feel that this boy is doing intentionally, right? So that is where we require to do some kind of psychological intervention, right? Why the boy is always late, what is stopping him, this kind of thing. I'm giving a very simple example here, but at least in a class of 30, 1%, that is 1 or 2% people need the treatment. This is where we need to take the help of the professionals, right? So this is one pyramid which I thought I will share with you, right? In the school, all of us, everybody, including staff, teachers, leadership, students, support staff, everybody need to have what is actually all about this mental well-being, the knowledge of psychological competency. If you look at the other side of my slide, you see mostly the schools are worried about the academic performance of the students. And we keep saying that the student is not attending the class online or offline. The student is not participating in the curricular, non-curricular activity. Student is not respecting the teachers. Students are not having the discipline, right? So this is a common conversation between a student and the teacher, or any kind of educational environment. Mostly, our research says more than 60 to 70% this kind of conversation happens between the students and teachers. And I don't know whether you believe me or not, students really like this conversations, like the teachers criticizing them, scolding them, all that stuff, are getting irritated. Why do you know? They need the attention, but unfortunately, it is getting into the negative attention, right? If you praise them, that is also attention. If you appreciate them, that is also attention. But they need the attention. As they are not able to acquire the attention in a positive way, they focus more on the negative attention, right? Hence, there are a lot of conflicts between the student, teacher, student and student, student and staff, student and parent. There could be multiple things happening there, right? Now, so basically the mental well-being in a good practices, it's not only correcting all the above, right? Not mental well-being activities are not correcting the student, right? I believe making their education journey more easy, more smoothly, and let them enjoy their education journey, right? Please, friends, I want to underline my statement here. Don't think that the mental well-being is only for correcting certain issues or correcting certain students, right? Actually, I see the mental well-being from all the positive side, where they are able to handle their own emotions. They can build the resilience against different kind of difficulty, right? And they understand what is their own problem, and they can actually reach out for the help, or they can do the self intervention, right? So this is what I see basically, why we require mental well-being activities in schools. So yes, as we discussed, do we have conflicts at schools? Teacher, student, teacher, 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 student, student, teacher, staff, all this. Yes, there are some conflicts, right? Behavior disorders we observe, and mental traumas and stress, we also see certain cases on that. And there is a huge requirement on acceptance, adoption, adjustment order disorders. Like, for example, you suddenly change the school timing, there will be big hue and cry from the students and all. Suddenly you do the changes in certain kind of timetable, right? So there are small things. We are talking about the COVID. It's a very big change, or we have been seeing this since last 1 year and all. But look at the small things, how a student reacts, right? Whether the student is able to accept, once they accept, how do they adopt this change, and how do they adjust? So there could be disorders in the acceptance, disorders in the adoption, disorders in the adjustment. Some people say that I like that teacher only, right? I don't like this teacher, right? Is it a problem here? Acceptance disorder? We need to look into that, right? So there are few things which need a correction activities, but the good part of this is if you start best activities of best practices of well-being in the school, the students will be able to handle the adolescent stage. They will build a positive atmosphere, climate, environment around them, and they improve the performance because they're mentally calm. They understand what is it, how do they take it, they understand what is their limitations, they work on their limitations, right? It would be good, like, and setting up their personal and professional goals also. This is my personal experience. When the person is when the student is very clear about their own limitations, right, or about their own strengths, right, they are very firmly set their own personal goals as well as the professional goals, right? This is one of my experience which we have done in a couple of universities, right? This is my favorite slide, and I hope all of you must be knowing about this. Like, attitude, we keep on talking about the attitude, and we keep on comparing it with the iceberg. We say that attitude is like iceberg thick, but it is very strong inside, right? I take a couple of minutes here, though it may take some time, but I wanted to discuss with you all about the attitude. Unfortunately, the term attitude has lost his positive side of it, right? We use the term attitude in a negative context always, right? Say that, look at that boy's attitude. This girl is full of attitude. We are not able to understand actually what is attitude all about, and why do we take it in a negative sense, right? So our internal beliefs, internal values, ethics, whatever I have internally, that will reflect in my behavior. That is what we call, so-called, term we use is attitude, right? And we say that, attitude cannot be changed, right? And it has lot of impact on the others and the social impact on them, right? But friends, uh, the similar kind of attitude you see everywhere, right? So for example, I take this example, like, you know uh, when let's say my father comes into the room suddenly, and relaxing in the chair and watching the TV. And as soon as my father comes in, I immediately change my position and I sit right, and or else I may get up and offer him the chair and all that, right? But when my son is sitting and watching the TV and I enter or my husband enter, he never changes his position. Okay, hope you are seeing this kind of change, right? Like even today we can't raise our voice in front of my our elders or parents, but our kids are now very well debate, discuss, we use the term called as argue with us, right? It's happening, right? Now you look at it, is that means that they don't respect us, right? Yes, they do respect us, but there is a behavioral change, right? Because as the transition generation, we accepted certain behaviors, right, of certain beliefs. For example, earlier, religious aspects are very, very, tough, right? So they have to do 1, 2, 3, 4 very rigorously. But we have lot of relaxations nowadays, right? So we have changed the behaviors of certain beliefs and certain values and certain ethics. Okay, so the behavior is changed, but what we are doing as a transition generation is we are comparing the behavior to behavior, right? So I was doing this, hence I am respecting my parents. My son is not doing this, hence he is not respecting the parents, right? So this kind of equal comparison should not be done today, because the behavior, you can't compare now. You need to get little bit internal side and you see whether they really respect, right? How they are going to show the respect to you, right? So this is something which I wanted to, make all of you very clear, that your son, when he, the way he respects you, he will respect the similar way his teacher also. Point number one, the way he behaves you, similar way he is trying to behave in the school, right? So you have all the school kids, right, who are coming from a similar kind of walk of the life. So you see a different kind of behavior, that is not their so-called attitude, that is the new behavior of your students, right? So respect, not respect, it can be changed, it can't be changed, it is a separate issue. But I wanted to make this very clear, right? Maybe the values are same and maybe the beliefs are same, but the behavior is now changed because of various reasons around and because of the environment. I hope I made some sense here, right? So now let's come to the point now. As I said, that what can we do? Okay. So as most of the speakers also said that we need to form a wellness team, and I suggest that start very small. Don't try to do everything at once, right? Let us start one by one step kind of thing. Start a wellness team where you have students, teachers, parents, professionals involved into that, right? And they take care of certain activities, right? Giving the awareness of mental health, educating all the students, including the staff, about the mental wellness is very, very important. How do I do that, right? Maybe I will, try to do certain activities on the World Mental Health Day, Yoga Day, this kind of thing, right? So people know that there is something called as this, mental health, and this is what is called as mental health. If I have some kind of issues, I have so many people to talk and so much they to do, which can correct this kind of situation. So making everybody aware about their mental health, or in general, what is mental health is very, very important. So you can start certain activities saying that World Mental Health Day and all. Just to share, in Telangana, yesterday we have started something called as Mental Well-Being Week, right? So it started yesterday and it will be there up to next Thursday. And there would be lot of sessions for all the parents, all the doctors' families. Every day we are targeting one kind of audience and we are airing lot of programs, right? Encourage the social time. Sunil focused on this a lot, right? How do you use the social time? You don't believe in couple of schools, not couple of schools, many schools we started Instagram time, right? Like you have this, you have sports time. And, in the timetable, we said that, okay, next half an hour is Instagram time. So everybody started using Instagram, posting their things, right? So they really felt that they are connected to each other, right? So, when they have the class, normal class in the schools, right? Normal schools, right? So we have sports time, recess time, and we have certain other hours also. Of the what do you call that? Handicrafts class and all that. Why can't you have some kind of classes which is on the social platform, right? You can have chat groups, you can have Insta time. We said that, Facebook time, something like that, and ask them to be active and post whatever they learned on that day, whatever they felt on that day, whatever they wanted to share on that day, best picture, kuch bhi karo, right? But it is a good initiative to become again a group, and the way they used to be very active in the normal school, they will be active on the social platform, right? And we also started certain things called as run lunchtime clubs. This was super success. So what we did is we did a break rooms. I think all the Zoom meetings, everything has this break rooms. So we asked them to choose. We created the break rooms region wise, locality wise, like Jayanagar one locality, this one locality, MG Road one localities, and we asked them to be there in that lunchtime clubs, right? Actually, they got their sandwiches or their food. They started eating in front of the camera and just had the chit chat the way they used to have in the schools. So they that missing that lunchtime was little bit reduced, and they felt very happy. And the feedback was superb on the lunchtime clubs, right? And this you can start when the schools are reopened. Open day or stress-free day, no classes, no teachers, nothing. They can come to school and do certain creative work, or anything which we call it as stress-free day or open day. You can start practicing this, right? And run sessions for handling exam pressures, performance pressure, peer pressure, etc. Based on the requirement, you can identify certain, maybe exam time may 1/2 an hour for each class. You can run some sessions from people like Satish Kaushik and all. How do you handle this exam pressure? This point is very important. Provide toolkits to teacher heads, partnering with the professionals. There are toolkits to identify students who are really need the clinical treatment or professional psychological intervention, right? Which is very important. Friends, I lost so many students, right, in my experience. Friends, due to this issue. We know that this lady is, I had one friend, Vidya, right? She was talking very fine with everybody and all, but suddenly she used to become very gloomy, not to talk, get into her room for 2-3 hours and all. And once she's back, she's again okay. So we used to think, "Arey yaar, kya hua isko?" Sometimes she becomes so odd and all. And we just gossiped on her behavior and left her. And in another 1 week or 10 days, she committed suicide. Even today, I repent on that mistake. That I keep saying I would have spoken to her. I would have asked why it is, or I would have informed somebody that Vidya is behaving like this, right? So please, there are toolkits. You associate with professionals, right, and get those toolkits to identify who really need some kind of serious interventions, right? Yes. appreciate good, encourage them. And earlier I was talking about this. Do you remember I said that we only point out not coming to school, not on, not punctual, no discipline. Instead of that, move all this attention to the good practices. Maybe you can say that your handwriting is very good, right? The way you ask questions are really interesting, or you say that some every student would have some good point. So try appreciating the good thing. So automatically they try to do more good, so that you appreciate more, and this moves from the negative attention to positive attention, right? And follow the sandwich methods to motivate the students. Hope all of you know about the sandwich method, where you talked about what they supposed to do to get certain benefits and what are the proofs, right? So we always follow this in our profession. Especially I follow this, the sandwich method, to motivate my peers, my colleagues and all that, right? Recognize and introduce them to gamification methods. This is working wonderfully on social platforms, right? So let us say we, last time we said that, let me see which answer will get more likes and shares, right? So you don't believe, they were actually looking for the right answer, a right kind of, what do you call, explanation about a particular question. And they really worked for that. And they said that, okay, my answer got 53 likes, my answer got 70 likes, that kind of thing. So they really appreciate. See, look at this. This is something very beautiful aspect of social platforms, right? In the class, you may be appreciating the students only once for their, for their good action or good work and all. But on the social platform, you can appreciate them n number of times, right? And as well as, you can encourage more people to appreciate them, right? So this is something, a wonderful aspect, wonderful feature of social platform, which all the schools should start using, and have a small team, or maybe your teachers themselves can work for half an hour kind of time on what their students are doing online, and keep appreciating their work. Okay, this is something I wanted to stress again. Run communication classes. It's not just the language. Communication is very, very serious skill, very important skill today. If you look at on right side of my slide, I have one small thing, like I'm angry, right? The kid used the term called as, or the word called as angry. I'm angry because you didn't share your ice cream. So is it the angry right word? Because the other person reaction is based on my word angry. Okay. So when the kid says angry, the other kid also reacts similarly. But is the emotion is angry there? I don't see it is angry. Maybe, the kid might use or may use something called as, I'm disappointed, right? So here the emotion is very well communicated to the other kid. So it is very important for the schools not just run the communication skills in the language, grammar, vocabulary and all, but they need to know, the kids need to know how do they express their actual feeling with the right vocabulary, in the right sense, in the right way. This reduces 50% of the conflicts, right? It is a known research, and I request all the schools to focus on this part, right? Collaboration success, again, I think Sunil has stressed upon a lot on that. Group activities really working nowadays, right? People wanted to become online groups and all, and do a lot of activities on that, right? So, use pedagogy methods, which has a lot of collaborative learning, right? This is something which I wanted to focus again. Make academic counseling separate activity from the mental health. There is two types of counseling involved in the wellness, right? One is academic counseling, like how do I improve my scores, right? How do I ensure that my maths is weak? How do I get along with my math subject? These are all academic counseling, right? So maybe you can appoint your teachers who are too good in academic counseling, but the same counselors cannot do the mental health or mental well-being counseling, right? please, friends, this is my humble request, never mix these two things, right? Involve parents, ask, learned parents, like people who are in good positions or who are in good professions, ask them to talk to the other kids. For example, in the class of 60, at least you must be having 10 to 15% of parents in a very good positions, or, maybe doing anything. Like, for example, we had a student whose, father was a ration shop dealer, right? So we asked this ration shop dealer to come and give a half an hour session. Actually, what is this all about the ration system? Right? How government is doing it, right? And what is his role in that? He felt so happy, and he said, "I never thought my job will help so many students." And believe, friends, all the students are so they we thought half an hour session, and it went on for 2.5 hours. And all the students parents, and even our ration dealer, everybody was enjoying the 2.5 session with a lot of interaction, right? So think about these things, think about this kind of sessions, which will really make this a kind of social bonding between the students, parents, and the school, right? Ask them to get involved in social work, leadership qualities, not only leading always a group and all. Maybe how do I lead myself, my own time, my own decisions, right? These are all leadership qualities, right? First, to learn how to lead yourself, right? So all these lessons are very important to your student. And upskilling session, as well as we required a special focus for the girl students also, that, as okay, this is something which I wanted to underline again. We can't forget our staff, our teachers, right? Very, very, very important. Okay. So, until unless our staff, our crew, our teachers are mentally stable, as we are talking a lot about our students, the same thing applies to our staff also. So first, we need to focus on our staff, our teachers, right? Support staff, everybody, right? We can take a mental well-being audits. So we can conduct certain sessions. And in today's COVID, pandemic, and we have been talking online too much. We need to coach our teachers how to take online classes. This is something, a big mistake. All the schools, all the education, institutions are doing this. We are thinking that whatever they are doing in the classroom, they are replicating on the online. It is not true. I was just reading one of the questions down, right? One of the teacher is asking, nobody will be there in my class, but at the end of the class, everybody says, "Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir." That was like, sir, I don't know whoever asked this. It's not only your situation, it's situation for even me now. Okay, now, right? So we need to understand certain things there, and we can help you in making your digital session very interactive. How do you make that 60 minutes? You need to get trained, sir. You need to get coached. You need to be, using certain other tools to become more interactive and get all your 60 student attention on that. So this is very much required, right? And involve parents and relatives, right? That is very, very important. Share your whatever you have learned today. Try to share with your students, parents, and their relatives. This is very important, right? Because nowadays, as parents, relatives part also very important in well-being of students, right? Okay, as our speakers are talking, I thought I quickly picked certain key points which will recall the entire session for you all. So think, feel, and act. This is the beautiful statement where these from our first speaker. Think, feel, and act. Yes, what the student thinks, what he feels, and what he acts. Right, all are interrelated. Not interrelated. It is like a sequence. Now, where you have to make them, where you can change the act is the way you change their thinking. So making them more educated, making them more aware, giving them more information really makes the thinking change. As the thinking change, feeling change, and obviously the behavior will impact. Right. And our second speaker spoke about thank you and gratitude activities. Right. So, start a lot of gratitude activities. Maybe having a thank you wall in the school, right? They can come and write. Or online, you can say that thank you walls, right? So try to do that. Happiness is an achievement. Help them in achieving. I think Swati ma'am was talking about that. Yes, we all have to work towards this. This is something very interesting. React and respond, right? So the teacher need to respond to the situation, but not reacting. So we need to understand what is the difference between a reacting and responding. Responding is an ability. That's why we call it a responsibility. It is an ability. It will not come. So you need to build this ability to respond to the situation. Of course, use the social platform for learning, as Sunil was saying, and avoid over information or give the correct information. And very, very important is no no's, right? Don't use so many no's. Try to give the positive statements to your students, right? So friends, that is from me, right? I hope it helped you or made some sense to you. Over to Srinivas.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rama. It was a very brief, detailed activity from your side. But yes, a lot of people are asking for your presentations. So what we have done is we have replied to them to mail us the details, and we will have the presentation sent across if it is okay by the speakers. You can stop the screen sharing, and let me go towards the conclusion session. So teachers, principals, friends, it was wonderful having all of you on this very important topic for today, which talks about mental health. And as we initiated through our cluster heads, which are based out of various states on behalf of Dayanand Sagar University, we intend to do a lot of interactional, motivational, very, very crucial, and also very sensitive topics to be brought in. And we would like to have a lot of our upfront speakers coming in, giving their views. So we intend to keep this momentum going up in terms of communicating with all of you at regular intervals. And if you all have any queries, you can please put it across in an email to us. We have answered the queries, most of it that has come on the chat. But yes, there are still a couple of more queries that are there. May I request some of the speakers to handle, to take up these queries and maybe to answer it on a one-to-one basis. Any queries, please get back to us on the website. I can even share the email ID to you. This is the email ID. So you could put across your email to us on this, and we will have all of your requests taken care of. Let me also give you another good piece of information. Dayanand Sagar University, in its endeavor to work across with various schools on a collaborative model across various states in India. If you require any help in terms of setting up of counseling centers, you want to have any special sessions for only your teachers, and even if you want any motivational sessions to be conducted for your students on topics like online, they have a lot of distraction today happening because of online activities, or you want some motivational sessions, we will be happy to conduct these sessions absolutely free of cost for your schools. And if you also, once the pandemic gets over, if you are interested in having counseling centers being put up, you could always mail to us, and we will get back to you through the intimation from our partners, the Rajbala Foundation. So thank you so much. We will answer all the queries one-to-one on the chat itself, and you will get back the answers to it. So thank you very much to all the principals, teachers, and also a big thanks to all the speakers for today. With this, we come to the end of our session.
Thank you,
Have a safe
Shinde.
day.
One small request.
Yes.
Can all the speakers come online, video on, and we can you can take a group pic and
Oh,
send
definitely.
that.
Why not? Definitely. We can do that.
So we used to do this when we are meeting, in person, group photo at the end of the session. So my
Okay. I will have the copy taken.
Shinde,
Yeah. So Satish is also there.
huh.
I think Rama, your
I'm there.
video. Okay. 1 second. Just stay like that only. And here it goes. One more I'll take. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm sure a lot of queries have been coming. I think currently the count is at 14. We would continue to stay online for 5-10 minutes. I will request the speakers if you could go to the Q&A box and just answer in the queries which you feel is suitable from your point of view. It will help the participants to get the answers.
Is it possible, Shinde? There were one or two questions which the people have asked. If we can talk to them, because they are general questions.
Okay, I will take some of the questions. For example, this is a question from J.K. Pandesab. I am facing problems during online classes that attendance is very poor, but in the end time of class, everyone responds, "Thank you, sir." So what will be solution from your side for good attendance?
So, Dr. Swati, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I can, but I think Rama, since he's dealing with
Yeah.
the things, he'll be the better person for this.
Rama, could you take up this question?
Yes.
And
Actually,
give me your answer.
Yeah, I was reading this, question, right, while I'm taking the session. So I thought.
In fact, Rama, while you say that, they have asked us about, could you elaborate on the sandwich method?
Sandwich method, I need another half an hour. So
Okay.
I may not be able to do it now, but surely when we can have some dedicated session on certain methods, right, in detail, we can surely elaborate it. Okay, let me come to this question that, at the end, everybody says thank you. I'm very happy that they are at least saying that, right, at the end, right? So they're not online, and they're not attentive in the classroom, right? So first, friends, as I have been telling this to many of the institutions, right, the way we are handling today the online classes are equal to the way we were handling in the normal class, right? It's not the same. Right, there are various methods, and one more thing, let me first tell that they are pushed to the online class. It's not a pull, right? It's a push. So it requires more effort from our side, and more interactions, and more kind of personal, statements where they feel that yes, I need to sit here now. Okay, for example, I use certain techniques in my classes where I take the names. For example, I may take, Satish, what is happening today? So it's mandatory for Satish to be alert, right, in the class. Okay. Similarly, I may say that Srinivas, the next question is going to be yours, right? So concentrate on
Ready
next
to answer,
5 minutes.
ma'am.
Yes, concentrate on next 5 minutes. So, it comes, automatically, and everybody sees their, hears and sees their name is, there, somewhere. And suddenly I say that, okay, whoever is having, wearing blue t-shirts today. So everybody says, me. Then I say that, okay, all blue shirt guys will have all my questions today, or they have to answer, or you have to take this particular topic. So it's, that 30-40 students are touched.
Yeah.
Right? Because I can't make eye contact, right, as of now, right? So somewhere I have to become a radio jockey rather than a DJ.
Yeah.
So when you take a class, it was a DJ. You see moods, then you change the way you talk and all. No, but now you are in RJ, right? So change your hat. That is my. I hope I answered your question, sir. So Satish, you want to add
There's
something?
another
No,
there's
that's
another query.
Rama, you are very true in this. They have to change their style. How to involve them?
Yes.
Yeah, they have to find ways, because I also see my grandson studying. So the teacher is always after such and such. Where is he? Yeah,
Okay.
let's talk about. So they keep them involved.
Yes.
So and they feel very happy when they are involved.
That's true.
Yeah, to add to this, the main thing that we need to look for is that we need to motivate the students.
Yeah.
Okay, motivation is the key, because right now in the online, the anonymity is there. Suppose you don't switch on the video, that also is there. But though many teachers emphasize that the videos need to be on in some schools, but yeah, in many places, schools, it is not there. So that kind of anonymity is there. So you are there or not there, attending or not attending, that's a major point. So if you are like through different activities, if the teacher, like Rama was pointing out, saying different activities. So through different activities, if we are able to motivate them, and put them on like alert, then that will solve this kind of problem to some extent.
So what I shared is only one example, but there are so many practices which we need to adopt, right? To become online successful teachers.
Rama,
Sunil,
another.
you want to add something?
Rama,
Because Sunil is very much active online.
So I mean, I think more than attendance tracking on online platform mode, attention tracking has become mandatory. And that's what I refer to as modern problem needs modern solutions. How do you just mark the attendance? You probably can run a script if you're on Google Meet and then take an attendance, but is it going to be enough? So therefore, the teacher readiness, preparedness on being innovative about the content delivery and content preparation, and the richness that can be brought into the content becomes even more super crucial. If we are using the same kind of mode of how we used to teach in a regular scenario and try to expect different results, I don't think we're doing the right thing. So the preparedness is something very, very important. So therefore, all the leaders, it is important for all of us to give these action items to teachers, saying that, okay, what are you trying to do differently? What are your strategies? Bring that leadership cultivation element into all your conversations, saying that, okay, what is your how are you differentiating between your content now versus pre-COVID situation? Then most of the questions will be answered. Precision questioning is something which I will leverage heavily. Ask these precision questions to all your teachers so that they bring that innovation into that. And if kids are mischievous, like they're not listening and they're just saying thank you, I think that is how it is supposed to be. Let's not worry about it, right? Because we've seen a lot of rockets falling onto us, right? Chalk piece, dusters, books, and all that stuff. All the flying saucers came onto most of us, right? And that was the fun element, and we were probably notorious as well. But I think in the current scenario, because teachers already have a baggage of dealing with technology, on top of it, they're also having to deal with this naughtiness, that is adding more pressure. So I think let's not worry too much about how mischievous or naughty kids are. Let's, I think, focus on the way we prepare the content, our preparedness, and the way we deliver the content. Probably that focus might help us bring the accountability, not just responsibility. 45 minutes I have engaged my students, I'm done with the day. That's not the case, right? I'm going to talk to them just 15 minutes. Rest of the 30 minutes, they're okay to do whatever they want to do. Teacher can confidently engage the students in that manner. I think that's the real achievement.
So, Rama, another important point here is in case of children, the parents have also started sitting in their classes.
Correct. I have seen that.
So that also creates problems. So the
so one research has told us that they are sick of this monitored learning nowadays. So saying that what I'm learning, how I'm learning, what my teacher is teaching, everything is monitored by my parents. So it is 24/7 monitored living for me.
Yeah.
So that is creating a lot of stress.
We have a couple of more questions. Let me just quickly put it across to the panel here. This is a question for Deepika Ahuja, and there is a mail ID also given. It's come from Debasmita Sengupta. Deepika ma'am, if you can provide some more details about positive psychology at school level in this pandemic situation. Email ID is given. I would request Deepika Ahuja to, you can also type the answer online itself, and you can take down the email ID of them and always get back to them later. And
Sure, I'll take
there's
down
another
the
question
email ID.
also to the panelist. How do you handle the slow learners in online class?
I'll go first with it.
Sure.
What's happening in the current scenario is something that I can explain. I think generic Gyan may not be very relevant. So if we have seen some specific things, we can, that's the reason I'm kind of sharing. So on these digital platforms where just communication platform is seen as the digitalization for all the schools, I think we should come out of that mode. You should have an appropriate learning management and content management and student management systems for each of your schools. And what will happen is you can group these learnings using the flipped learning methods, or any of these pedagogical strategies can be leveraged by grouping them together. There are platforms available. Essence is certainly one of them, where you can bring people together. Somebody is weak in Pythagoras theorem, just create a group for them, give them some videos to learn, go through the videos, and then ask them to answer some survey questions or kind of ad hoc questions or something like that, or ask them to explain it to another student and then make that video and send it across to you. So all of these can happen, wherein you not only address their weaknesses or help wanted items, but you also give them an opportunity to be very, very expressive about their problems, right? So controlled environment where you're still taking a generic approach, it is not going to happen. Your students should know that personalization is happening at a student level. Once you give them that trust, then student will believe that, okay, I'm being monitored very closely, so let me pay attention. So they just cannot make statements like, thank you so much, of the right at the end of the class, because they might be thinking, how would even my teacher know if I'm listening or not, right? So to bring them out of that, some of the things that Ramaji said and some of the things that Swati ma'am has mentioned and also Satishji mentioned, how do we bring in that personalization element to every child is something which I strongly believe. And grouping them together, somebody might be a slow learner, that should be fine. At the end of the day, as long as they all clear their exams and score well, most importantly, understand the knowledge is what is measured really, really well, then it is fine. So use digital tool set for that. Online, that's the only way we can do that. Have ad hoc assessments and measure who's
Don't disturb me.
all these things and all that. Then it will be really, really helpful for all of us.
Sure, that was nice. We have one question which is coming from Bimal Mishra from Bhubaneswar. How long can I console myself and my students in this period of uncertainty?
I may answer this.
Please, ma'am.
This is a period of uncertainty. Definitely, there are a lot of uncertainties around. Okay, but as I have pointed out, like as I have mentioned about this thing, that the choice is on us. Okay, definitely uncertainty is there. See, earlier also uncertainties were there. Okay, it is not that this is now only we are facing uncertainty, though definitely it is on a larger scale we are facing uncertainty. But earlier time also there have been phases when we face uncertainty. Like for example, when our children they are at class 10, then which career to choose, which stream to choose, that uncertainty is there was there earlier also. Okay. So, but now the uncertainty is of a different kind actually, where you are afraid of your life, you are afraid of the earlier normal routine type of life, okay, and the way we used to do work and everything, okay, like the schooling, going to work and everything. Okay. But the question here is that how do we respond to this kind of things? What is the choice that we are making here? What is the perspective or the viewpoint that we are bringing in this kind of situations? So as I had said that the choice is always on us. how do we respond to a particular situation? Okay. Now, if I say if this kind of things are coming to me, then I can say that, okay, what are the different ways I can respond? Okay. Uncertainty is there that I do not have any control over. Okay. So I will have to find out what are the aspects over which I have control. Okay. And regarding the other aspects of my life, if I have control over certain aspects, I could identify them, then definitely I can take steps accordingly. And then if I identify, okay, these are the things that which I do not have control over, then how do I want myself to respond to these aspects? So that also I need to decide. Okay. So it is always, how do I respond? The choice is on myself. So that is why in these kind of uncertainties that we are talking about, one needs to develop self-awareness, okay, and then one needs to be mindful about how I'm going to respond or react. Okay, reaction, actually we do not say react, it is always responding. Okay. As Ramaji was saying, that it is the ability to respond. That's why it is called the ability. So we need to consciously learn to respond to a particular situation, develop that kind of mindset. So we have to make a choice that how do I want to respond to a particular situation. If I see that this is uncertain situation, so I feel stressed, I do not know what to do, I feel helpless, that's fine. Then I'm choosing that. Okay. But in that kind of situation, the situation is same, but I can choose a different kind of response. Okay. And by choosing consciously that different kind of response, I will make a difference in my emotions that will arise out of this, in my thought process that will arise out of this, and then that will impact my behavior also, and the actions that I'll take to have some sense of control over different aspects of my life. Okay. So ultimately, I would say that in any kind of uncertainty situation that is there, okay, we need to be conscious about how do we respond to this situation. I hope that answers the...
Sure. In fact, there are two feedbacks which has come on the group chat, because we have the particular cluster heads from various states in touch with the principals on the feedback. So there's one feedback which has come in from the Delhi Public School, Newtown, Calcutta. And the feedback is, I really enjoyed the session. Speakers were excellent. Please convey to all a lot of learning and valuable insights. Thank you and looking forward to more. There's another feedback which has come in from one of the schools from Jharkhand. So it says, it was really excellent program. I really enjoy and learn so many things which is applicable in present situations. Thank to all the speakers, speaker persons and the team of DSU for this. This is from the school in Jharkhand. It's a Valley View School from Jamshedpur, from Jamshedpur. So what we will do is we will have the questions put across in an Excel sheet and we'll share it with all the honorable speakers so that you can have a look at it, and whatever you feel is convenient from your point of view, you could put in the reply to the respective school principals, because we'll have everything shared to you on an Excel sheet. For all the participants who are here, including the school principals, we will have the recording of this sent across by the same link that our people are getting in touch with you. And you should be able to see that. Anybody wants any particular PPTs, you can please mail it to us and we will take the permission from the speakers and have their PPT sent across to you if they permit so. So with this, we'll take leave. We'll come to the end of the session. I would like to thank all the speakers once again for their time and for this wonderful session. And we look forward to more interesting topics being brought across for the principal and teacher fraternity. Thank you so much and have a safe day ahead.
Thank you,
Thank you, Dr. Shinde.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Shinde. Thank you, everyone.